All right, I'm starting the recording too. So the people who aren't here can have a recording. All right, ready to start us off, Wagner?
Yeah, okay. I'm Casey Wagner. I normally teach math and science, but as of right now, I am teaching science and social studies and then writing to my homeroom.
And then I'm Beth Parker, and I'm the reading teacher for these classes right now. And I teach writing to my homeroom.
I'm Lacey Rumpelhammer. I'm the new fourth grade teacher, and normally I would be teaching language arts and social studies, but right now I'm the virtual teacher.
And I'm Kelly Burks, and usually I'm the math and science teacher, but right now I am the math for all three face-to-face and writing for 4D. And I apologize if I call them first graders because it's still a little bit of an adjustment for me this first couple weeks. All right. Well, before we get started, the chat is open, and any questions you have, if you'll just throw them in the chat, and at the end of this meeting, we will collect all those questions and put a big document together and send that back out in case anybody needed extra clarification or anything like that. And we'll send that out either when we send the blog out tomorrow, if we get really ambitious, tomorrow afternoon, or possibly Monday or Tuesday. We won't be here Monday. All right.
Okay, Kelly, you can go to the next slide.
Oh, is it on homeroom?
It's on homeroom. Yes.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'm hitting too many buttons here. There we go.
Okay, so just first, these are in your kiddos' Schoology accounts. These are just our schedules that we go by. So we've put up there that there's 4A and then there's 4B's daily schedule. And then on the next slide, there's 4D and then the virtual schedule, which it pretty much goes in order, even for the virtual. We're all teaching the same things at the same time.
All right, and for all of our fun stuff here, we're going to get started. Schoology basics. So how will you be able to tell what kind of assignment it is in Schoology? If these are the icons that we basically see, if it's an assignment, like an everyday assignment, maybe a worksheet or something like that, it'll be classified as that. Some of our things have tests and quizzes, and you'll see and then an assessment looks like this puzzle piece. And sometimes that's just a quick check, and sometimes it's a graded thing. And then we also have discussion questions in there. And if you ever need to send us a message as far as virtually, or the kids can do this from their iPads as well, this little envelope right there sends a message straight to us in Schoology, so we can see that. And we can send those back to the kiddos. I'm going to go over what we're going to be covering in math this year. If it'll come up, there we go. Hold on, it's being weird for me. I'm sorry. It's skipping things. All right, here's our scope and sequence. And this is also on this Coppell website, and for everyone to see if they need to. This just is our breakdown of what weeks we will be covering what. This is what we go off of when we send the blog saying what we're doing in class. So this first 9 weeks, we are doing place value, including addition and subtraction, comparing and ordering numbers, and we go all the way to the billions place. So that's been kind of fun right now, talking about how big are those numbers, and it's a little confusing for some of us, but we're doing okay. And then in our second unit, we will start multiplication and division, which is always big fun, and that'll roll over into the second grading period as well. Here's kind of a breakdown of the units we're going to cover this year. Addition and subtraction, multiplication, division, measurement. We'll deal with some decimals, addition and subtraction, fractions, geometry and angles, and personal finance, and then just putting it all together with those applications. And I'm not going to read over all of this, but I want you to understand what it is. We talk about high priority learning standards. We have a lot to teach in every grade, but we as a district, curriculum writers have kind of broken it down into what are the most important things that these learners need to know to move on to the next grade. So these are the ones that we like really, really focus on to make sure that they know before moving on to the next grade. We teach it all, but these are the ones that we like spend the big time making sure they know. Oops, it's not letting me go. Basically, the breakdown of our math classroom lessons is basically we start kind of with a mini lesson on our new concepts, or we review what we've done. Then we're going to break up into small groups to reinforce those skills. Your child might be in a small group lots of times in a week. Your child might be in a small group just a couple times a week. It's basically what's best for your child and what they need. I have some kiddos who are working on extension projects right now because they already know a lot of comparing and ordering. And I have some kiddos who need a little extra help with comparing and ordering. So it's just, we kind of figure out where everybody is and get them on their best level. And then after we assess some of their independent work, we'll kind of regroup and see, do they need some reteach? Are they ready to move on? And that goes for every kiddo. We make sure that they're getting exactly what they need in the class. Some of our fun apps that we use, Reflex Math is working on their fluency with their math facts, basic facts. I bumped everybody up this year to their facts or multiplication facts from 0 to 12. Some kids have already mastered those, and that is awesome. We're going to find something else for them to do. Some kids are still working on that, and that is awesome too. We're all working at our speed. Dreambox works on all math skills, and we can use this to specifically assign assignments to each kid based on what they need. So if a child is struggling with maybe problem solving, I can assign an activity specifically to them. Some of our other apps, we use Numbers, basically all the Apple apps, Keynote, things like that to show their learning. Other assessments you'll see, Dreambox gives us assessments. Reflex will tell us where they stand with their facts. And obviously you'll find everything in Schoology, and Map Test is the big one for math for us. And we're actually taking that on Friday. So we should have results pretty soon for that.
Okay, so for science, again, this is our scope and sequence. And so I've just put on here part of the first grading period. So we have been focusing this at the beginning, the science safety and the science tools. And we have started moving on to matter, and we'll be on that for the next few weeks. And then we'll go into like mixtures and solutions and electricity and magnetism. But right here are our units. So we have our matter unit. We will have force, motion, and energy. Then we move into the Earth's surface and the Earth's resources, the Earth's weather, and then Unit 6, which is a favorite of all the kiddos. It's the Earth and Moon, because they all love this type of stuff with space. And then the life science, and then energy and the ecosystem. These are the high priority learning standards for science. There's actually a whole second page, but these I just so that y'all could kind of see what they were. They, like Kelly said, we're really, we teach it all, but we focus to make sure that they know these moving on. So in science, we are all hands-on. They learn best exploring. We will be doing data, problem solving. They've loved doing the experiments with the tools and learning how to do the science safety. Sorry, go ahead, Kelly.
Oh, sorry.
You're right. And so some of the apps that we will use are for science are Gizmos. Those are so fun. They're like online simulations. We have Flocabulary. They just did a Flocabulary assignment, and I could hear them like rapping the song out loud. Go ahead. Sorry.
There it goes.
Oh, and then
Big one.
it's okay. For assessments, we're using the same thing in Schoology.
Right.
They'll have an assignments. They're turning their assignments into Schoology. They have tests and quizzes and assessments. They did a discussion post today. So they're becoming little experts on how to get things submitted.
All right, and I'm going to talk about the reading. So
Sorry, I'm with it.
And like, just like the other ladies have shown, here's the scope and sequence we had for our language arts. Most of the first 9 weeks, we're really digging, or actually the first semester, we're digging really, really into interpreting characters. We're really going to learn a lot about the heart of a character, analyze characters. I mean, it's kind of one of the kids' favorite units because we really, really get into learning about characters. Okay. And then here's the different units we will do. The narrative and the drama, that's a lot of the character stuff. We'll do a whole bunch of stuff, really delving into nonfiction and do a lot of research with it. A lot of times, in the lower grades, they were learning how to read nonfiction and really understand it. Now we're taking how they can read it and how they can delve into the research part of it and really get a lot of learning with it. We do a poetry unit, historical fiction. We go in and talk about reading history. And then our last unit is when we really prepare a lot of test taking strategies and really helping them prepare for that reading star. And then here's some of our higher, high priority learning standards. Again, like they said, we teach everything, but this is a lot of what we really, really focus on the most. And then when we do our lessons, we do what's called the reading workshop. Most of them have done the concept of reading workshop since kindergarten, so it's nothing new to them. But basically, we start off with a mini lesson. Our mini lessons usually revolving around a read aloud, so we can, have our teaching point and model our activity. We have lots of anchor charts, lots of visuals to really help all the different ways, the ways different people learn. So there's all different ways they're exposed to stuff. Then they'll go off and they'll do their independent reading. During that independent reading time, they do get free choice of a book. They are going to do a lot of writing about their reading. We'll have them in small groups. They may have a little book club with stuff. They'll conference with me. I'm also going to be doing small groups during that time. I'll be doing reading conferences. I'll be doing strategy groups. So they're going to get a lot of independent with their reading, but they're also going to have a lot of time with me to really work on what strategies they need to focus on. And then we're going to do some sharing at the end. A lot of it, they'll be submitting it to Schoology. They're practicing that skill. They're showing me they understood what we worked on that day. These are all the apps we use are all apps everybody's used to from the last couple of years here. We still do iStation once a month. A lot of that data is data that I can use to see where people need more extra help, or I can do enrichment towards. We've got the A to Z Learning RAS Kids, which is great for me to do different things with them. And then we have Mac and Via, where they can go in and access different databases and different stories to get more reading. And then our assessments, we have the once a month iStation. I can do fluency checks, comprehension checks with RAS Kids. There'll be different assessments through Schoology. And then we take the NWEA MAP test, and we've actually started the reading MAP test this week. And I think I have maybe out of all 3 classes, 7 kids left to finish. So pretty soon I'll have all that data ready to start getting really going into our small groups. Okay, and then under language and literacy, we also have our writing. Here's our scope and sequence for the first grading period. We're really focusing on that narrative and really writing. Right now, our main focus is to get their stamina up. A lot of them are having a hard time to get focusing on back to writing again. So we're trying to make it fun, give them fun topics to write about to really improve that stamina for their writing. But we're going to really go in and focus on the foundations of writing, getting, all the different stuff in to help them get that writing process going. And then here's the different units that we'll talk about this year when we do our writing units. They kind of go with our reading units as well, but we're going to be navigating narrative and drama, looking at writing nonfiction, looking at writing poetry, really work on that opinion writing. Then we do kind of like a journalism type thing where they get to write reports and stuff. They love that unit. And then we're going to start helping them prepare for, editing and revising and working on getting that final piece perfect. And then here's our writing standards that, again, we look at everything, but here's the main things we focus on when we do our writing. And then writing is kind of set up the same way as our reading. We follow the Lucy Calkins model where We have a mini lesson with the teaching point. Sometimes we actually can do part of our writing lesson based around a book. So that's kind of cool to show how the author used certain words and set up, a certain way in a different craft so they can actually see it. And then with their independent writing, they could be working on their brainstorming or drafting or editing, like to publish their work. We have them work in small groups sometimes. Sometimes it's good to have that peer to talk to get more ideas, to help brainstorm. And then they'll work with us during that time with that small group time again, where they have writing conferences. And then they'll submit it on Schoology so we can see it and be able to get grades for it. And then the apps we'll use for writing, we can use Notability. Sometimes they can write up what they need to in Notability. There's stuff to help them in Mac and Via. And then there's Google Docs, where sometimes they can type up what they've written into a Google Doc. And then for grammar, we do the grammar talks this year, which is they'll have a skill each week they focus on. Each day there's a different activity, whether it's an invitation to notice or to imitate. And each day they'll help work on that skill. And the way it's done, there's a mentor text that's taken from a book they might know. And each day we do a certain activity around that text or that sentence. And then at the end of the week, they get to actually hear the book aloud that was taken from, and they can see how the author used their craft throughout the story. And then the spelling program is the Show Me Spelling. It's a weekly lesson of spelling patterns where they practice the words each day. The words are given to them, and then the next day the same word, but it's changed a little bit. Maybe it's become a plural. Maybe they've added a prefix or a suffix to it, but they're really trying to teach them those spelling patterns. And we really encourage them to use those spelling words throughout their week when they do their writing.
So for social studies, again, this is our scope and sequence. So this first unit, we're looking at the regions of Texas and then Native Americans. And the kiddos had so much fun. They got to create their own regions last week, and they had like fantasy regions. They did regions of their bedrooms, regions of the house, of their backyard. So they had a blast doing that. And then some of our units, like I said, unit 1 is regions and Native Americans. We're doing the Europeans and settlement, the Texas Revolution, the Republic of Texas, and the road to annexation. We have the growth of Texas and citizens of Texas. And these are, again, the high priority learning standards that we make sure that they know them and that they're prepared and they're ready to go on to the next grade level. Same thing again, we utilize Schoology with assignments, the tests, the assessments, and then the discussion posts.
All right, it's back to me. All right, so we're gonna go over our specials. So we have PE, we've got a new coach in PE. His name is Coach Hayes. We've got Miss Williams back as our art teacher and Miss Trigg back as our music teacher, and they go to those every week. Our schedule is a little different this year because we are basically taking 3 face-to-face classes and splitting them into 4 classes. So if you see the yellow, that is always 4A. If you see the blue, it's always 4D. Green is always 4B. And the purple is split between 4A, 4D, and 4B. And so they're kind of traveling in different places, and they're getting pretty good about remembering what group they're in and how to get there. So on PE days, Coach, oops, I'm sorry. I'm getting crazy with my thing. I'm sorry. On PE days, please make sure your child is wearing the appropriate shoes, especially I know the girls like to wear a lot of sandals and things like that. And when it gets colder, the boots and all that stuff, but please make sure gym shoes are worn on PE days. And then just about every Friday, they go to Move and Groove, and that's where they spend a lot of their running time. So please make sure to check on the shoes. Let's see if I can do this without hitting too many slides. All right, GT screening is going to look a little different this year because because of COVID and all things that keep changing and things like that, the state is still adjusting what GT screening is going to look like. If you have any questions about GT specific, you are welcome to contact Heather Bass. She is our specialist on campus. But until then, as soon as we get more information about screening, we can pass that along to you. And I'm sure there'll be a video from the district and things like that. Some technology tips for everybody. Number one, this is a big one, charging. Please, please, please help your child remember to charge their iPad every evening and bring it back to school charged. We have very, very few chargers here, and plugs are hard to find because they're usually covered by furniture or something. So it's tricky to get them charged here. We can do it, but they either need to bring their charger or we're borrowing from friends and things like that. I've told the kiddos that it is their job, not mommy and daddy's job or their grown-ups' job to remind them to have their iPads. So they're 4th grade. I know they're not perfect. My older kids are not perfect at this, but just trying to get that responsibility on them. I told them, I don't want to hear that mommy didn't put my iPad in my backpack. Nope, you check that you have your iPad in your backpack. Making sure that it's taken care of. We do go over what we expect from their technology and how to be a good digital citizen, where we put our iPads, what we do on our iPads. I tell them a lot, your school iPad is for school stuff. When we're at school, we are not jumping on YouTube and looking at a video. That is not the purpose of our job there. And I remind them, we've gone over this. You've probably talked with mom and dad about this. And so just something to think about there. Adult awareness. You are welcome to check into your kiddo's iPad at school. It should be used for school stuff only. We can keep an eye on what they're doing from here too. And we check them periodically, like, hey, show me what you're working on. Oh, show me your history. And we always say that a cleared history is not the best thing. We want to see that history on there. And then just please, please, please make sure it comes to school every day. There have been a lot that have been left at home. It makes our life so much easier if it's here and they're ready. But if it does become a problem or your child does have your life is hectic and you need it to stay at school and be charged here, we can do that. So we're willing to work. If it's not working, the going back and forth, we can work on a plan to make it easiest for everyone. All right. Most of the apps we use a lot of Google Drives. We love the camera and clips to make little videos of our learning. The Apple apps such as Keynote and Numbers and Pages. And oh my goodness, I had a lot to talk about. Okay. Just kidding. All right, grading practices. Grades will be in Schoology, and you can also see them in Home Access Center, which I believe is coming up after this. Performance tasks will be about 55% of their averages, and that's going to be things that we have in class, just classwork, what are they doing, quick checks, things like that. And then 45% of that will be like actual tests and final assessments, what we call summative assignments. Those are like the bigger, more meaty projects and things like that. These are our minimum expectations of 3 grades in performance tasks and 2 grades in summative. Obviously, we're checking in on them way more than that. So you'll see their grades there. Sorry, let me move my screen. If you want to check your child's grades, you can go into Schoology, and this is kind of clear, but you can see it when we send it home too. There's a tab for grades. You can see what the assignment is, what the score was, and if the teacher made any comments on it. If for some reason we didn't do our best on it, we can always retry, and we'll conference with the teacher and see what's going on there. And then Home Access Center, this is also where parents can see grades. This is linked up to Schoology. So sometimes it takes a little while for the grades to transfer from Schoology to Home Access Center, but it doesn't usually take too long. I'm trying to think. You can log in if you're not sure. Here's the information on how to get in there. And like I said, we'll send this presentation home so you can see it as well. All right.
Okay, and I'm going to talk about how this year we're really putting a focus on that social emotional learning. We know it's been a crazy last couple of years, so we really want to put a focus on making sure the kids are, you know, comfortable talking with us and comfortable talking with each other. And so every morning we're being very intentional as a campus that every morning we're having like morning meetings. We have our K-Tex program here where the kids put on the morning announcements and they have any school announcement and they'll do the pledges and then any reminders. And then every day we'll have some kind of daily discussion topic. Sometimes it's geared around a video. Sometimes it might be geared around a really cute little picture book. But we're going to be having general topics and discussions where the kids are going to have a lot of time to talk. My class today, I did a funny little picture book and it was about being prepared. And it was really neat to hear all the little groups talking about how they get prepared. And you could really hear a lot of them giving each other advice on how I get ready in the morning and what I do to have prepared. And it's really neat to see how they can share and really, you know, bond with each other as a class because they become a family in these classrooms. Okay, and then we have ways for you to communicate with the campus and the grade. For fourth grade, you know, one way to always get a hold of us, of course, is our emails. That's the number one way to get a hold of us. But on Fridays, we have a blog that goes out every Friday. That blog will have information for you about everything that's going on in fourth grade, so you'll know what's going on. Our office hours per se are when the kids are in specials, which is 9:20 to 10 o'clock every day. And then we also have our Twitter handle at #TCE4th. And then of course, Miss Martin sends out her principal blog every Friday afternoon. So you'll get information from that. TCE PTO has information, and then TCE Texans, the handle at Twitter, has information for you as well.
Oh, good. It's finally me. I think I got skipped by an accident, not anyone's fault, but my own. So our campus procedures.
Sorry, it's coming. It's like, it's coming slowly, but it's coming. There we go.
Okay. So for our well, first of all, I don't know. Maybe the slide got pushed down. No, it's not you. So going back before we even go to the end of the day, I know we have a lot of kiddos that come in and eat breakfast. You know, all kids are allowed to have free breakfast again this year. If you can make sure if they're eating breakfast to kind of have them here a little bit earlier. A lot of our kiddos have been coming down and our classrooms become a breakfast area and we spend half the time cleaning up pancake syrup or somebody's satin milk or somebody's satin in the syrup. And then, then they're like, their clothes are dirty. So if you can just make sure if you're eating breakfast in the morning to just make sure they're here a little bit early. But then our end of the day for face-to-face transportation, if you are changing, if there's going to be a change of who's picking up, how they're getting home, any kind of dismissal change, please make sure to call the office. Even if you send us an email, we may or may not get a chance to look at it. There's days that we don't even get to check it until the end of the day. So just make sure so that there's no confusion that you just make sure to send the office, call the office, and then they always call our classroom to let us know. And then attendance. So for virtual, your Zooms are recorded so that you can go back and watch. If your kiddo's gone, you need to send an absence note to Miss Kingsley, and then her email is right there. And then same thing with our face-to-face. If they're absent during the day, you can send a note. You can even send, and this is for virtual too, you can even send your teacher an email and we can always forward that on to Miss Kingsley. Oh, I think that was it, Kelly.
Oh, all right. Is that all of it? Yep. Sorry, trying to get out of it. Stop sharing. All right, so I think what we'll do for a minute is just kind of keep the chat open for those of you who might have some questions in there. We do want to collect those. That way we can send them out to everybody. We know not everybody can make it tonight. There's football going on. There's others curriculum nights going on for other children. So if you do have any questions, please, please, please put it in that chat. That way we can make sure that we get all the questions answered that we need to. And there was something I was going to say, but now I can't remember what it was. Oh, regarding the blog. I am one of those moms who I have 2 kids and it's hard to read those blogs, y'all. That gets to be a lot. So what I personally do, and I don't want it to come off as like abrupt and not very fluffy. I'm a bullet point kind of girl. So I'm like, what do I need to know? What do I need to do for the week? So when you see my emails come, the blog's a little fluffier, but my emails are going to be like to the point. This is what we need you to do. So, or your child to do. So just kind of my explanation on how we do that.